Hey yogis, welcome to my channel. My name is Kassandra and today we're doing a Vinyasa flow practice to celebrate the Spring Equinox. The Spring Equinox is one of my favorite times of the year because this is when the energy levels start to rise and now is the time to start taking action. So those of you who maybe had done my winter solstice practice, you know that this was a restorative practice and is all about slowing things down, taking some time to rest, and really retreating. Now that we're at the spring equinox, now is the time to start to get out of our shell. And just like what nature is doing all around us, we're starting to see flowers come into bloom. The animals are starting to wake back up as well. And that's the same thing that's happening to us. So we have this renewed vigor and we want to use it to our advantage. So now is the time of the year that I like to go fill up my calendar with my goals and the things that I want to do. This is really when I start to make some commitments and I start to make things happen because the energy levels are able to actually match the amount of action that I can take. So we want to make the most of this time by flowing on our mats and really celebrating this new season, this new opportunity, and this renewed sense of vitality and energy that you hopefully have. So we're going to start this practice lying down on our backs. I'm not using any props for this practice necessarily, but as always, you might want to have a couple of blocks, straps, or maybe blankets around you. And we're just going to start in Shavasana. So Shavasana, also called corpse pose. This is the pose that celebrates the ending, but it also means the beginning. So we did a lot of floor restorative poses for the winter. So corpse pose is really symbolic of waking up from our deep slumber. And this can be physical or just energetic slumber. Whatever areas of your life you've been numb to or that you've shut down, the spring equinox is really asking you to wake up to it. So take a few deep breaths here in this corpse pose, breathing into the chest, into the belly. And start to ask yourself, what intention do you want to set for this season? What is it about the energy of spring that you want to tap into and embody? So for example, for me, spring is all about blooming, like a flower in bloom. That's what I want to embody. I want to bloom in all areas of my life. An awakening from this deep slumber. You can move fingers and toes like a bear coming out of hibernation. Just yawn the body open, give a big stretch, reaching your arms up overhead. And just pull your right knee into your belly. We'll take a little spinal twist so you can cross your right knee over to the left and reach your right arm out to the side. Big belly breath here. Feeling the length and the space from your right shoulder all the way to your right knee. One more big breath here. And then roll to your belly, catch a hold either of your right shin, your ankle, or your big toe for half happy baby pose. Checking into the hip. And release the right leg to the mat. We'll switch sides, pull your left knee in, and take a little twist over to the left. And coming back, half happy baby with your left leg. Keep your right hip bone grounded to the floor so that you're not leaning on one side more than the other. Just starting to wake up into the hips and into the low back, noticing if anything feels stiff or uncomfortable. Be really mindful. Just send your breath into that area. And we'll release. Simply rock up. And you can cross at the ankles. And we're going to come into a little kneeling stance from here. So I like to focus on the cycles of renewal that come with spring, and we'll express that with our bodies doing this little flow. So I'll take it through slowly. So keep your toes pointed back behind you. As you inhale, you're going to lift up onto the shins, reach the arms up overhead and look up. And as you exhale, let your hips come back to your heels. Deep breath in, hands go behind you, lift your chest up to the sky. And then exhale, fold forward into a little child's pose. So we're moving in and out of an expansion and an opening and then a contraction. And we'll do this about 5 times. So inhale, big breath in, lift the hips, lift the chest. Exhale, hips down. Inhale, open up through the heart. Exhale, fold it down, child's pose. Finding that cycle again. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. 3 more times following your own breath. Really following your own internal rhythm. Matching movement with breath. Last one here. Inhale. And set the hips. Exhale. Inhale. Puff the heart. Exhale. Child's pose. Linger here for a few more breaths. Let your forehead connect down to the earth. So this little child's pose is like a seed that we plant in the soil for the flower to bloom. And now is the time for us to bloom. And just come back up, lifting the chest, stay kneeling, sitting on your heels. Just take a little side bend, right arm reaches all the way up and over. And then over to the other side, like a flower or a plant swaying in the wind. Just keep going side to side. Left hand down, right arm up. And then right hand down, left arm up and over. Once more on each side with your breath. Coming all the way back to center, please find your first downward facing dog. Hands are shoulder width distance apart, feet are hip width distance apart. And you can go ahead and paddle your feet, sway the hips side to side. Just move any way that feels good here. Maybe a little bend in the knees if the hips and hamstrings feel tight. And we want to celebrate the return of the sun with some sun salutations. So from your down dog, you can walk your feet forward to the top of the mat. Bend your knees generously and just roll all the way up to stand, inch by inch. And keeping the feet hip width distance apart, we're going to take 3 rounds of our half sun salutations just to warm up. So really ground down and anchor through the feet, strong through your legs. Inhale, arms rise, palms come together to touch. Exhale, fold down. You can definitely bend your knees here. Halfway lift, flat back, lift the chest away from the floor. Exhale, fold it down. Reverse swan dive. Inhale, arms reach wide, heart lifts up. And then exhale, hands at your heart twice more. Inhale, up. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold a little deeper. Press to stand. Hands at the heart. Last one, inhale, saluting the sun, folding down. Halfway lift. Fold it down. Reach the arms up. And then hands at the heart, stay here, close your eyes. Feel the weight evenly distributed through all four corners of both feet. What is your intention for this season? How will you honor this renewed energy, this feeling of optimism and possibility, the return of the warmth and the sun? And releasing the arms by your sides. Let's take a full vinyasa this time. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, fold all the way down. Halfway lift, flat back. Plant your palms, just step the feet back to a plank pose. Take a breath here, strong through your core. Exhale, lower to your belly. Point your toes back and push into the feet in order to lift up, little cobra. Exhale to release, downward facing dog. And from this down dog, reach your right leg up to the sky. Bend your right knee and open up that hip. Just get a nice opening through the right side body. Straighten and square your right leg so the thigh, the knee, the toes point down, and step your right foot forward between your hands, coming up into a high lunge. Arms lifting up, palms are facing in towards one another. Really bend generously into that front knee. I need to bend a little through my back knee as well. This is optional. And as you open up through the chest, interlace your fingers behind your lower back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Straighten the arms so your thumbs are moving away from your tailbone, and lift the heart up to the sky. So saluting the sun here. Exhale, bow forward. Reach your knuckles up and over. Keep a generous bend in your right knee. Inhale, lead with the heart, come back up. Bring your hands together at the front of the heart, and we're gonna step up into our chair pose. Big toes together, heels apart. So integrating lion's breath. This is really great to kind of clear the cobwebs and energize, which is what we want for spring. So as you inhale, reach your arms up. And on the exhale, you're gonna fold forward and exhale out the mouth, sticking out the tongue. So I'll just demonstrate. We'll do that 5 times. Inhale. Twice more. Last one. Hold here. Interlace your fingers once more. Straighten the legs. Reach the knuckles up and over. A little bend in your knees. Start to lift your chin and chest up halfway to the mat. Lean on your right leg and see if you can find your warrior 3, extending your left. Squeeze through the midline and come all the way up, mountain pose. Shine your palms forward. Breathe deeply. And let's move to the second side, full vinyasa. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, fold down. Halfway lift. Plank pose. Lower all the way. Inhale to your back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. From your down dog, reach your left leg up to the sky, bend your left knee, open your hip. Okay, great big stretch here, pushing into your right heel. Straighten and square that left leg. And find a high lunge. Left foot forward between your palms. Back heel is lifted. Arms reach up. Lengthening out of your waist. Open up the arms and you're going to interlace your fingers to your low back. Straighten the elbows. Squeeze your shoulder blades behind you and try to lift the knuckles off of your tailbone. Open the heart up to the ceiling. Little back bend and dive it forward and down. Keep some space in your neck and in your shoulders. No compression. Back heel is still lifted. Push into the feet, come up, release the arms. And let's step forward into our chair pose. Big toes together, heels apart. So 5 times folding with the lion's breath. Keep your hips low at all times. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale. 4 more. 2 more. Hold here, interlace the more unusual way, straighten your legs and fold. With a little bend in your knees, start to lift chin and chest, parallel to the floor. Keep the squeeze of the shoulder blades. Lean on your left leg and pick up the right leg. Warrior 3 on the other side. So getting the heart rate up, deepening our breath, and finding that renewed energy and vitality. Mountain pose, close your eyes. Feel the effects of that flow. And opening your eyes, just take a wide stance on your mat. Turn your heels in, toes out. And if you look down, you want to make sure your heels and your toes are in that same line. So as you inhale, circle the arms all the way up nice and wide. Hands together, exhale, bend the knees and lower down. A few more times like this. Inhale, straighten the legs, reach up. Exhale, sink and lower down. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Linger here for a moment. Just create some space in the hips. Try to squeeze your glutes, inviting the knees to open up a little bit wider. And press the legs straight. You're going to turn your back foot in, front toes open. So triangle pose, arms reach out. Lean your left hip back and you can drive that right hand down the right leg. Left arm reaches up to the sky. If you happen to be doing the other side at home, doesn't matter. We're going to go right into the other side after. So you can stay as you are. Think of rolling that top shoulder back. Just feeling the nice space in the opening in the chest and the legs. Inhale, push into the feet, come up. Let's go to triangle to the other side. So pivot, toes in, the others out. Lean and push into your right hip. You can slide your left hand down your left leg. Right arm can reach up to the sky. So we don't want to be facing down to the floor here. You're really trying to roll and rotate your rib cage to face up. Breathing deeply. Push into the feet. Come all the way up. And turn your feet both parallel to the shorter edges of the mat. Hands on your hips as you inhale, lift chin and chest up. And then exhale, hinge at the waist, fold forward and down. Soften into the pose, into this wide-legged fold. Try to evenly distribute your weight into the heels and into the balls of the feet so you're not leaning too far forward or rocking too far back. And you can walk your hands over towards your right foot and right leg. Take a deeper stretch as you fold into the shin. And make your way to the other side. 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 And make your way to the other side Grabbing a hold of whatever you can around that left foot, left leg. And making your way back to center. So I'll give you guys an option here. You can either just hang out in your wide-legged forward fold, or if you'd like, you can float up into a headstand, either supported or tripod, whichever one works for you. I'm gonna go into supported. So inversions are a really wonderful way to get a boost of energy, which is why we're doing one here for the spring equinox flow. Keep lifting up nice and tall, pushing into the forearms. And you can ease your way out with control, back into the fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen up halfway. Now push into the feet, bring your hands to your hips and come all the way back up to stand. And we'll just do the same thing we did at the beginning, heels in, toes out. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, ground it down. Twice more, inhale. And exhale. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, ground it down. Reach your arms out to the side, look forward to the top of the mat and just step up back into your mountain pose. Let's take a vinyasa. Inhale and exhale. Halfway lift. Hop or step, chaturanga. Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's extend the right leg up to the sky, keep it straight and squared, and step your right foot to the outer edge of your right hand. So both palms are to the inside of that right leg. And you can rock it back and forth here in your lizard pose, getting into the hips. Drawing the shoulder blades down your back. And let your back knee come down to the mat, reach your right arm forward, up, and finally back. You can hold here in a twist, or you can take a quad stretch, holding onto the left foot and drawing it in. And release that foot, circle the right arm all the way back. Skandasana, so tuck the back toes under, lift your back knee off the mat, and you're gonna walk your hands all the way towards that left leg. Bend into your left knee, right leg is straight. Drop your hips as low as they'll go. Inhale back to center, over to the right. Dropping the hips, left leg is straight, and you're already facing the front of your mat, so keep spinning that way. Downward facing dog. From this down dog, left leg rises. Keep that hip rotating down. Find your lizard pose on the second side. Left foot to the outer edge of your hand. Keep the back knee lifted and just rock back and forth here. Find some buoyancy in the pelvis. Some space in the chest. And we'll go deeper into our quad stretch. Back knee down to the mat. Left hand goes forward, up and then back. So you're really rotating through that shoulder. You can stay here or you can reach and pull the heel in. Always coming back to the intention that you want to set for the season. How do you want to blossom and bloom? Releasing the back foot. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee off the mat, Skandasana to the right. So right knee bends, left leg is straight. Drop your hips as low as they'll go. And then over to the left. And you're already close to the top of the mat. Find your downward facing dog. Our final little vinyasa, inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And from this down dog, set your knees down to the mat and come up onto your shins. So very similar to what we did at the beginning of class, we're gonna come into our camel pose. So camel, you bring your hands to your low back, squeezing the shoulder blades and the elbows together and push your tailbone down, draw your navel in. So the core is super strong here in camel pose. This is not about jamming and creasing in the low back. It's about opening up into the upper back instead. Strong and firm through your legs. Inhale, lift up. And then exhale, push the pelvis forward as you lean the shoulders and the upper back back. You really don't need to go too far into this one. And inhale, come back up. Sit your hips on your heels. Let your hands rest on your thighs and just feel the effects of that pose and of our practice together. And you can move your heels to the side. We'll take a little twist, always good to do after a back bending pose. So with your legs out in front of you, sitting up nice and tall, you can bend your right knee and just cross your right foot over the top of your left thigh. Grab a hold of that right thigh with your left hand and just pull the right shoulder back as you open the chest. Think of lengthening your spine so that you're not rounding, not collapsing. And exhale, release. We'll switch sides, right leg out in front of you. Bend the left knee, cross your left foot over. Wrap your right arm around your leg and use your left fingertips behind you to twist a little deeper. Propping and lifting up. Release to unwind. Lower all the way down onto your back. And we'll take a little bridge pose from here. Feet flat on the mat, about hip width distance apart. Soften your arms. As you push down into your feet, start to lift the hips, the low back and the mid back. Careful not to let your knees open up wider than they were when their hips were down. Dig down into your heels and drag them back towards your shoulders. Another pose I like to do after back bends to re-engage the posterior chain. One more deep breath, and the hips can come back down. Just widen your feet, let your knees fall in towards one another, hands to your belly. Slowing down our practice. So how will you blossom into opportunity? How will you use this time of renewal and optimism? Whenever you're ready, let's make our way into Shavasana, final resting pose. Extending out with the arms and the legs. And let yourself relax. Softening the facial muscles, letting your shoulders drop. Begin to deepen your breath, reawakening from this rest. Moving fingers and toes, rolling the wrists and the ankles. You can stretch your arms up overhead. We'll come up to take a seat, rolling to one side, using your arms to lift up. Sitting in any way that is comfortable for your hips and low back. Honoring this practice together and sealing our intention with the chant of Ohm one time. Hands can come together at the front of the heart, and we'll inhale to chant. Big breath in. Namaste. Thank you so much for doing this spring equinox flow with me. I do hope that you enjoyed it and found it beneficial. I would love to know what your intention is for this season. You can share it down below in the comments. If you are new to my channel, please do subscribe by hitting the red subscribe button. It's a completely free and easy way to support free yoga here on YouTube. I put out new classes each and every single week. Thank you all so very much. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.